You're listening to the Signal Cafe, and this is part 4 of our interview with Henry Latham. In this episode, we focus on how your beliefs shape your decision-making, and we talk about why mindfulness and psychological safety and openness to change are so critical to the success of your team. So I want to go back to beliefs. Part of successful product strategy is getting back to the fundamentals. And the 3 bullets that I remember you wrote about were the fundamentals of your own beliefs, and then kind of translating that into your team beliefs and actions, and really kind of having that drive a successful process. I'm sure that this is in the book. How much, or talk a little bit more about that, and just what does that mean to you, right? Beliefs, actions, and how those drive process.
Yeah, as I said, so the book really is focused on, the core thesis of it is that we focus too much on process, like having Scrum, using Jira. We don't focus on ourselves as decision makers, right? Holistically, right? Broadly speaking. So we sort of see ourselves as, a product expert is someone that knows how to, as we were saying initially, right at the beginning, product expert, someone that comes in and sort of like organizes Jira really nicely. But
you're done. That's it.
Exactly. That's it. which again, because it's easier to think like that, but actually it doesn't matter. Like, yes, the process will help, but it's not, even if you run a lean startup methodology effectively, like it's not one thing that will solve your problem. Like, it's one of sort of 7, 14 factors considered to be sort of part of success. It will help you, but it's not the thing. Right? Yeah. Broadly speaking, when we look at successful statistically, like factors for success, what we're really looking at, the key factors are like your openness to change, your honesty, ability to work effectively as a team, like psychological safety, right? So people feeling like they're not going to be judged if they take risks. And for me, what is that commonality? Because we need to find that one thing, or again, it becomes too complex, or we default to what's easy, which is, story points. And for me, that broadly can be categorized as decision making, right? So how then, if everything derives from our decisions, right? Decision to hire someone, decision to build this feature, not that feature, we can broadly focus on a metric of decision making, right? So the metric being, impact of our work. The sort of the driving force is quality of our decisions. And for me, that comes down to, as I said, these 3 sort of pillars. As I see it, I feel like I've developed both professionally and personally as well. Personally in a bigger way than professional, is you need to be very mindful, so that, as I said, you can see things objectively and clearly, and you can also empathize with your team members, right? So on a personal level, you will be better decision making, but collectively, you'll be able to disagree effectively with each other, and that not to piss anyone off. Like, you will empathize with someone else as a person, and not just like, hey, John, you need to get this done, see you later, rushing by and not actually seeing them as a person. So on a personal level, it makes you sharper, it makes you as a team more effective. And then when it comes to being robust, as I said, like, you need to be able to deal with failure and push hard and not worry so much about the outcome, just trust in the process, again, on an individual level, but also on a team level, right? So Google looked at the core factor of effective teams, like what was the one thing, and it comes down to this concept of psychological safety. So again, if you feel like you can't take a risk because it might fail, and your team won't support you because of that, then the whole process crumbles. You can't be agile, you cannot be follow the startup approach, and you cannot be effective, as Google studies show, and as my sort of book, not as quite high level as Google, but it sort of reinforces that same point. So again, on a team level, on a personal level, team level, you need to be able to deal with failure, and then also, again, on a personal team level, if you aren't able to focus on the essential, you will just go around in circles, like, worrying about adding, password reset to the settings page, when you've just launched a new product, rather than, like, well, what is the thing that's going to get them using it every day? So as I said, like, you need that base, which is not just a work thing. It is you as a person, you as an individual. that requires this strong foundation for making high quality decisions. And though that requires, certain practices. So, to be mindful, you really need to be meditating or journaling or both to be robust. You not only need to be practicing the process of lean startup, but it's also things like reading, philosophy. Right. So a huge part of that book, 40 pages, is on sort of the concept of Stoicism, ancient Greek philosophy, like Zen Buddhism. So you need this sort of foundation as a person to apply yourself as a good decision maker in work. And as I said, so it really comes back to not focusing on the specific skills. Those will come if you're a good decision maker. Those are the prerequisite of that is you as a very good, high quality decision maker. So that's why I talk so much, as I said, about these principles, and the articles you reference about patience as well. All of these things are a prerequisite. They are the foundation which all success is built upon.
So how do you do that? How do you say, whether this is a new team, right? Maybe you just brought on 3 people to work on your startup idea, or maybe it's a team that has seen a lot of success and then it's plateaued. How do you change the conversation from features and story points and even customer value? Because that is super important, but it's not the foundation. The foundation is truly, how are we as a team? How are we making these decisions? Is there psychological safety? Are we robust? Are we mindful, right? Are we showing empathy towards one another? How do you shift? And specifically, when you're coaching, whether it's Agile coaching a team or coaching founders and a startup team, what is your approach to changing and shifting the conversation to that?
Yeah, this is a real ongoing learning for me, because this is the whole difficulty, right? Is, what is quality decision making? Like, where does that come from? It comes from a bit of everything. So there's 2 things, right? One is specific, when it comes to work, those specific sort of big dominoes, right? What are a few little things you can drop in that will start really changing people's habits? So specifically with your process, as I said, it's simply adding that invalidation column, changing everything to an experiment from a task. But on a personal level, it's really leading by example. So, in the book, I talk a lot about, really, from the science, you only have 3 to 4 hours of actual productive work each day. So therefore, in Scribe and in other teams, what I will not only say, but follow as well myself to lead by example, you say, like, mornings, like, for example, I like getting up at 6:30, and I'll work really intensely till midday. After midday, I'll do like some check-ins, maybe do 1 more hour of work. But like usually 12 till 3, 4, like I'm having a nap, I'm going for a walk, I'm meditating, I'm having lunch with my girlfriend. So it's leading by example, right? And showing other people, particularly because everyone has residual cultural habits, right? So they pick up habits from their past, past companies. So, with one of our developers from Scribe, you have to reinforce these points where I have to say, like, I don't care whether, when you're online, like, we work asynchronously, like, we know what we're doing, like, as long as the work's done, like, don't be online, don't apologize if you're not online, don't apologize if, you didn't respond for a few hours. Like, you work as you like to work. Like, I trust you 100% to deliver what we said, we would deliver. So yeah, it's leading by example. And then other things, like, if you see someone is stressed or someone's feeling ill, with Scribe, right, where I have complete control over, well, we have the culture we want without sort of having to interfere with client work. Simple things, like, if someone's looking ill or feeling ill, we say, like, no, literally get offline, like, stop working. It's not helpful. Like, you are not going to be making high quality decisions if you're ill or tired. So much better just go chill out, rest, etc.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really just leading by example, and also, again, explaining the points when they come up is the only way to do it, because otherwise it's too difficult, right? To give someone a book, read it, and overnight they're radically changed as a person. It simply doesn't work. So you're trying to sort of plant seeds that start building up and start building bigger, better habits. And on those, yeah, the book does. The book is essentially for these people, right? For these, as they call it, what's the word I always use for it? These not game changers, change makers, right? These people that are, particularly people working in agile teams that are frustrated with the way the team are approaching it. And they realize that actually we're just, trying to get loads of stuff done. It's all a bit over complex, but we're not actually focused on having impact and enjoying our work. And the book is really there to at least give all of this guidance, right? Of how can you understand why these principles are important for you personally, and for happiness, your relationship with work, but also for being more effective professionally. And then my hope is that people read these and learn them and then apply them within their own teams. And again, I get very specific. Section 1 is on you yourself, like how do you improve yourself? Section 2 is on how do you apply these principles within your team culture. And section 3 is then applying a lean startup process to sort of direct your decision making. Yeah, it's difficult, and it's why people revert to, as you said, hiring a consultant in to just put a nice Jira process in place. Is that it feels like it's solving the problem, but it's not.
Yep. All the time. That's awesome. I know that you have another call in 3 minutes, so yeah. I really appreciate your time. This has been so good. So I'm going to link to your website and your blog and your social profiles. And is there anything else you want to leave the listeners with, or anything else you want to let them know where to find you online or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the best thing to do is so the first chapter of the book is available for free if you sign up to my mailing list, which is hlatham.com/book, easy URL. On there, yeah, feel free to email me through my personal site as well. I don't really do social media, like I write on Medium, LinkedIn. But best thing for me is email, because I will focus on the email more, rather than a quick message on LinkedIn, let's say. Yeah, so reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. As I said at the moment, also any feedback on the book is really appreciated from the intro. Any thoughts also on, are you someone, did this resonate with you? If so, please get in touch, because it's great motivation for me to know that this message is reaching more people and resonating with them, and then hopefully helping them as well. Yeah, so that's it. So hlatham.com/book, where you can get the first chapter for free.
Thank you so much. This certainly resonates with me, and there's so many people trying to be agile and failing, and there's so many people trying to be founders and entrepreneurs and failing, and this is going to resonate with a lot of people. So thank you for your thought leadership. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for taking the time to speak with us.
Yeah, cheers, Jack.
Henry, have a great day. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you for listening to our interview with Henry Latham. If you've enjoyed today's show, please leave us a review on iTunes and tell your friends and colleagues if you think that they might also benefit from listening. Detailed show notes are available at signal.cafe /7. And thank you so much again for listening. Adios.